You woke up this morning, and the first thing you felt wasn't rested. It was that low, quiet heaviness that's been sitting in your body for a while now. Maybe your ankles looked a little puffier than usual. Maybe you stood at the bathroom mirror a second longer than normal, just looking, wondering. And here's the thing, nobody is saying out loud. If you're over 55 and you've been told your kidney numbers are something to watch, you are not in a waiting room. You are in a window where what you do in the first hour of your morning could matter more than almost anything your doctor has prescribed. But here's what I want you to stay with. Why do most people do everything right and still see those numbers get worse? We're going to get to that, and the answer is going to surprise you. I want to talk about what this actually feels like, not the clinical version, the real version. Because if you're anything like the people I've spoken to over the years, and I mean really spoken to, not just read about, there's this particular kind of exhaustion that comes with a kidney health scare that nobody prepares you for. It's not just physical. It's the exhaustion of not knowing, of waking up every single morning and doing this mental scan of your body before you even get out of bed. Are my legs heavy today? Is that lower backache the same as yesterday or worse? Did I drink enough water? Did I drink too much? Is that swelling or am I imagining it? It's relentless and it's isolating because from the outside, you look completely fine. You go to work or you look after the grandkids or you show up for everyone around you. And nobody knows that underneath all of that, you are quietly terrified. That the word kidneys now lives in the back of your head like a tenant you didn't invite. I remember talking to a woman, I'll call her Margaret, who told me that after her GP mentioned her creatinine levels were creeping up, she didn't sleep properly for 3 weeks. 3 weeks? Not because she was in pain, but because she didn't know what to do with the information. She'd been handed a problem with no real map. And that's the part that breaks my heart about this. It's not that people aren't trying, it's that they're trying completely in the dark. You've probably already cut back on salt. Maybe you've drunk more water. Maybe you've gone back to your doctor and sat in that little room and been told, let's just monitor it for now. And you've walked out of there with a follow-up appointment and zero sense of control. That feeling, that helplessness, is real. And it is one of the most underestimated parts of kidney health after 55. But here's what I want you to know. There's a reason that feeling keeps coming back, and it's not what you think. Here's what nobody tells you. And I mean genuinely nobody. Not your GP, not the leaflet they hand you at the clinic, not most of the content online. Your kidneys don't decline because of one big thing. They decline because of dozens of tiny things happening every single morning before you've even had breakfast, before you've made a single conscious choice about your health. And we've been taught, all of us, across the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, we've been taught that kidney health is about what you eat and how much you drink. That's it. That's the whole conversation. Reduce protein, watch your potassium, drink your water, come back in 6 months. And look, that's not wrong. But it is devastatingly incomplete. What I've seen over and over again, working in this space for a long time, is that the people who actually turn their kidney numbers around, who go back for that 6-month check and genuinely see improvement, they didn't just change what they ate, they changed what they did first thing in the morning, before the day got loud, before the habits that were slowly damaging their kidneys got a head start. Here's the thing that stopped me in my tracks. When I first came across this research, a study from the American Journal of Kidney Diseases found that morning physiological patterns, specifically blood pressure fluctuations, hydration timing, and cortisol spikes, have a disproportionate impact on kidney filtration efficiency compared to any other time of day. Disproportionate, meaning your kidneys are more vulnerable in that first hour after waking than at any other point. Let that sit for a second. That cup of coffee you reach for the moment your eyes open. That lying in bed scrolling before you stand up. That skipping breakfast because you're just not hungry. Every single one of those morning habits is hitting your kidneys when they are at their most exposed. Now, I'm not saying that to frighten you. I genuinely mean that. I'm saying it because it means the morning is also when your kidneys are the most responsive, most open to what you give them. And this matters so much more after 55. Because here's what the mainstream health conversation keeps getting wrong about aging kidneys. They treat them like they're broken, like the decline is a one-way road. It isn't. What I've found is that after 55, the kidneys don't need to be rescued. They need to be met. They need you to show up for them in a specific, consistent, informed way. And the morning is the single greatest opportunity to do that every day. Now, I'm going to walk you through 5 specific morning steps. Not general wellness tips, not things you've already heard 100 times. 5 things that target how your kidneys actually function in those first waking hours. And later, and I want you to stay for this part, I'm going to tell you which one of these 5 makes the biggest difference for people whose numbers are already showing early decline, because they're not all equal. And the one that matters most, it's probably the last one you'd guess. But first, step 1. Everyone tells you to drink water. Nobody tells you how your kidneys actually receive it first thing in the morning, and that gap in the information is costing people real progress. Here's what's happening in your body the moment you wake up. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your blood has become slightly more concentrated. Your kidneys, which have been in a kind of low-activity maintenance mode overnight, are now shifting back into full filtration gear. And in that transition, in that specific biological window right after waking, your kidneys are doing something remarkable. They're recalibrating. And what you put into your body in that recalibration window either helps them reset or stresses them before the day has even started. Most people over 55 wake up and reach for coffee within the first 15 minutes. I'm not going to tell you to give up your coffee. That's not a realistic conversation, and honestly, you don't have to. But here's the thing. Caffeine is a mild diuretic. It pulls fluid out, and when your kidneys are already in that morning adjustment phase and slightly concentrated from sleep, you're essentially asking them to filter on a deficit. What actually works, and what the research on morning hydration timing backs up, is drinking 300 to 500 milliliters of plain, room temperature water before anything else. Not cold. Room temperature. Cold water causes a very mild vascular contraction that, over time, and especially in older adults, puts just a little more pressure on the filtration system than it needs. Room temperature water, before coffee, before food, before your phone. And look, I know that sounds almost too simple to matter. I thought the same thing the first time I came across it. But I've seen people who added literally just this one habit report a noticeable reduction in that morning puffiness and heaviness within 2 weeks. 2 weeks! Have you ever noticed how different your body feels on the mornings when you actually drink water first versus the mornings you go straight to caffeine? Like there's a subtle difference in how your head feels by mid-morning? That's not coincidence. That's your kidneys telling you something. Now, for people in the UK and Australia especially, if your GP has told you to watch your fluid intake because of any heart-related concerns, please follow that guidance. Fluid management can be individual, but for most people over 55 who've been told their kidneys need support, not restriction, this morning water habit is one of the simplest, most foundational things you can do. Water first, room temperature, 300 to 500 milliliters, before anything else crosses your lips. That's step 1. And it sets the foundation for everything that comes next. Because step 2 is where things start to get a little less obvious, of everything that damages kidneys silently. And I mean silently, without a single symptom. Blood pressure is at the top of the list. And there is a specific morning blood pressure pattern that most people over 55 have no idea is happening inside their bodies right now. It's called the morning surge. In the first 1 to 2 hours after waking, blood pressure naturally rises. That's normal physiology. But in people over 55, particularly those with any kidney concerns, that surge can be steeper than it should be. And that spike, happening every single morning, is one of the primary mechanical reasons kidney function declines over time, because high-pressure blood being pushed through already sensitive filtration tissue. It's like running a delicate filter under a pressure hose. Every morning, for years. Here's what's wild. A large-scale study tracking adults over 50 found that morning blood pressure surges were a stronger predictor of kidney function decline than average daytime blood pressure readings. Stronger, which means your doctor could look at your daytime readings and tell you everything looks fine, while your kidneys are taking a hit every single morning that nobody is measuring. And I want to be honest with you here, because I think you deserve that. I spent years telling people that if their doctor said their blood pressure was okay, their kidneys were probably okay. I was wrong about that. Or at least, I was incomplete. What actually helps moderate that morning surge isn't medication alone. It's behavior. Specifically, how you get out of bed. This is the part that sounds almost embarrassingly simple, but it works. When you wake up, don't stand up immediately. Sit on the edge of the bed for 60 to 90 seconds first. Let your body adjust to the upright position gradually. This one small act has been shown to reduce the sharpness of that morning blood pressure spike, especially in older adults. Then, and this is where it connects back to step 1, drinking that room temperature water before standing fully upright helps thin the blood very slightly, reducing the pressure load on your kidneys in those critical first minutes. For people in Canada and the US who are on blood pressure medication, many of those medications are designed to be taken in the morning for exactly this reason. But the timing matters. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about whether first thing in the morning is the optimal window for your specific medication. This isn't one size fits all. Now, close loop B here. Remember earlier when I said there's a reason the helplessness keeps coming back? That the people who do everything right still sometimes see their numbers get worse? This is a big part of it. They're managing their kidneys during the day, but the damage is often happening in the morning before they've made a single decision. That's the gap, and now you know it's there. But step 3 is the one I almost didn't include because it sounds too simple to be real. And yet, it might be the most underestimated kidney protective habit that exists. I want you to think about the last time you moved your body, really moved it, even gently, before eating breakfast. Not a workout, not a run, just movement. A walk, some gentle stretching, 10 minutes of something. For most people over 55, the morning goes. Wake up, bathroom, coffee, sit down, breakfast, and then maybe some movement later in the day if there's time and energy. And here's where it gets real. That sequence is quietly working against your kidneys every single morning. When you eat first and move later, your body's blood flow prioritizes digestion. That's just biology. Blood gets directed toward your gut. But your kidneys, which need good steady blood circulation to filter efficiently, they get a little less than they need during that window. Over time, and especially over 55 when circulation is naturally a little slower anyway, this becomes a pattern that compounds. Now, and this is important, I am not talking about intense exercise. Not even close. The research on kidney health and morning movement is actually pointing towards something much gentler. A 10 to 15 minute slow walk, outside if possible, even in the cold, even if it's just to the end of the street and back, has been shown to improve renal blood flow markers in adults over 50 in ways that longer, later exercise sessions don't replicate. The timing is the thing, not the intensity. A woman I spoke to, she's in her early 60s, lives just outside Manchester. She'd been told by her NHS consultant to keep active for her kidney health, which is great advice, genuinely. But she interpreted it as joining a gym class 3 times a week after work, which she hated, so she quit after a month. When she switched to a 15-minute morning walk before breakfast, just around her neighborhood, earphones in, no performance pressure, her next kidney function review came back with the first improvement she'd seen in 2 years. 2 years, one habit, different timing. I'm not promising that for everyone. Bodies are different, situations are different. But the principle, that morning movement before food creates a circulation environment that your kidneys genuinely benefit from, that part is solid. And here's the question I want you to sit with. And this is the engagement question I want you to answer down in the comments, because I genuinely want to know. What does your current morning routine look like right now before watching this? Not what you think it should be, what it actually is. Because I read every single comment, and what you share helps me make the next video more useful for you specifically. Now, step 4. And this is where we open something I want you to keep in the back of your mind until we get to section 5, because it connects to the biggest breakthrough in this entire conversation. The first thing you eat in the morning matters to your kidneys in a way that goes far beyond the general eat healthy advice you've already heard. Here's the thing about kidney filtration. Your kidneys process waste products from everything your body metabolizes. And certain foods, when eaten first thing in the morning on an empty system that's still waking up, create a filtration load that is genuinely heavier than the same foods eaten at lunch or dinner. Let's talk about protein, because this is where I see the most confusion. And honestly, the most fear in people who've been given kidney health warnings. You've probably been told to reduce your protein intake, and there's truth in that guidance for people with significant kidney disease. But here's what nobody tells you about morning protein specifically. Eating high-density animal protein as your very first meal, before you've hydrated properly, before your kidneys have had a chance to fully wake up and regulate, creates an acute filtration spike, a surge of nitrogen waste products that your kidneys have to process all at once. That doesn't mean don't eat protein. It means don't eat a heavy protein-dense breakfast as your first act of the morning. What actually works? And this runs counter to the high-protein breakfast culture that's everywhere right now, in every health magazine, on every fitness channel, is starting with something that is easy on your kidneys, something that provides energy without a heavy filtration burden. Oats, berries, a small amount of whole grain toast, foods that are naturally low in phosphorus and potassium relative to their volume, foods that don't immediately spike the filtration workload. And then, if you want eggs, if you want some protein, have it 20 to 30 minutes later, after you've already had water, after you've moved a little, after your kidneys have had a chance to shift into their full working rhythm. The sequence is the thing. Again. Now, what to avoid before 9 a.m., and this might surprise you. Processed breakfast foods, even the ones marketed as healthy. A lot of cereals, even the ones with healthy-sounding names, are loaded with sodium and phosphate additives. And phosphate additives in particular, not naturally occurring phosphorus, but the synthetic phosphate used as a preservative in processed foods, are absorbed by your body at a much higher rate than natural phosphorus. And your kidneys, especially aging kidneys, struggle to excrete synthetic phosphate efficiently. In Australia and the UK, many breakfast products that carry health claims are still packed with these additives. Reading the ingredients label, not just the nutrition panel, and looking for anything ending in phosphate is one of the most practical kidney protective habits you can build. This is loop de-opening, because here's what I have not told you yet. Of these 4 steps, there is one underlying mechanism that connects all of them. One thing that, when you understand it, changes how you approach every single morning for the rest of your life. It's not a supplement. It's not a food. It's something that happens inside your body that nobody is talking about in the mainstream kidney health conversation. I'm going to explain it fully in a few minutes. But first, step 5, and this one. This one is the one that makes people feel things. Step 5 isn't about what you eat or how you move or when you drink water. Step 5 is about how you start. I want to tell you something that took me a long time to understand. And honestly, I'm a little embarrassed it took me as long as it did. For years, I watched people get the information right. They followed the guidance, they changed their diets, they tracked their water, they did everything that looked correct from the outside. And some of them improved, and some of them didn't. And for a long time, I thought the ones who didn't improve just weren't consistent enough, or they weren't doing it exactly right. And then one day I had a conversation with a woman who'd been following kidney health guidance meticulously for 8 months, with almost no improvement in her numbers. And I asked her, not clinically, just honestly, what the first 5 minutes of her morning felt like. And she went quiet for a second. And then she said, "Scared. Every morning I wake up scared." And something clicked for me in that moment that no research paper had ever quite said out loud. Chronic fear. The kind that lives in your body when you've been handed a frightening diagnosis and left to manage it largely on your own. Chronic fear raises cortisol every morning before you've done anything. And cortisol, sustained cortisol, constricts blood vessels, including the tiny, delicate vessels that feed your kidneys, including the ones your kidneys need to function well. You can drink your water. You can take your gentle walk. You can eat the right breakfast. And if you are waking up every morning in a state of quiet terror about your health, your body is working against every good thing you're doing. This is the answer to Loop A, the question I asked you at the very beginning. Why do so many people do everything right and still see their numbers get worse? This is a significant part of why. And step 5 is this. Before you do anything else in the morning, before the water, before the walk, take 3 minutes. Just 3. And do something that tells your nervous system that this morning is safe, that you are okay right now in this moment, that your body is not your enemy. That might be a short breathing practice. 4 counts in, hold for 4, out for 4, 3 minutes. That might be sitting quietly with your hands in your lap and noticing 5 things you can feel. The weight of the blanket, the temperature of the air. That might be saying out loud or just thinking clearly, I am showing up for my body today. That is enough. This isn't spiritual bypassing. This isn't ignoring real medical concerns. This is physiology. Lowering your morning cortisol response is one of the most direct things you can do for kidney blood flow, and it takes 3 minutes. And I want to speak to you directly here. If you clicked on this video because a doctor said something at your last appointment that scared you, and you've been carrying that quietly, I see you. That particular kind of fear, the kind you don't want to burden other people with, the kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m., it's one of the heaviest things a person can carry. Your kidneys are not failing you. They've been waiting for you to show up for them. And you just did. You showed up today. That matters more than you know. And this is the step where it all comes together. The water, the blood pressure awareness, the movement, the food timing. They all work better inside a body that isn't flooded with fear every morning. That's not poetic. That's biology. Now, Loop D, the thing I promised you, the one underlying mechanism that connects all 5 of these steps, it's called the glomerular filtration rhythm. Your kidneys don't filter at a constant rate throughout the day. They follow a circadian rhythm, just like your sleep cycle, just like your hormones. And that rhythm is most programmable, most open to influence, in the first 90 minutes after waking. Everything we talked about today, the water timing, the blood pressure management, the morning movement, the food sequence, the cortisol reset, every single one of those things is working with that rhythm, aligning your morning to the moment your kidneys are most receptive. That's not a coincidence. That's the whole strategy. And here's what I need you to know. You don't have to do all 5 perfectly tomorrow morning. You don't. Pick one, just one. The water one is the easiest starting point for most people. Do that one thing for 7 days and notice what shifts. Then add another. Your kidneys don't need perfection. They need consistency over time. Now, there's something I didn't cover today, and I want to be honest with you about that. Because it matters. We talked about what to do in the morning, but what happens in your body in the hours between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m.? There's a second window of kidney vulnerability that almost nobody is talking about, and it's connected directly to what we discussed today. I made a video specifically on that afternoon window, what's happening, and the 3 things that either protect or damage your kidneys during that time. It's the next piece of this conversation. I'd really encourage you to watch it next. And look, if this felt like the kind of honest, no-nonsense conversation about your health that you've been looking for and not quite finding anywhere else, this channel is built for exactly that. Hit the subscribe button. Not because I'm asking you to collect channels, but because what we cover here is ongoing. It's a continuing conversation, and you deserve to be part of it. I read the comments. I mean that. So, tell me what your mornings actually look like right now. And I'll leave you with this. Every single morning you wake up is a morning your kidneys are asking for the same thing you are. Just a chance. Give them one.